What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another NFL video with your boy. Drop a like down below, comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, man, let's get into it. We got New Orleans at Arizona today. Extremely excited about this game. As we know, all Showdown primetime games have been field goal battles. So with that being said, all you have to do on this slate today, sorry, I don't know what just happened there. All you have to do on this slate today is go Matt Prater and then run it back with Will Lutz, and then you'll have success. All right, y'all have a great day. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, no, but seriously, primetime and showdown slates have been kind of lacking, excitement and energy this year. This is a solid game here. I mean, we've got we got Andy Dalton quarterbacking for New Orleans. But at the end of the day, we've got two teams that should be able to move the ball. I mean, on the New Orleans side, there's no Marshawn Lattimore. So that secondary's hurt significantly. I think it's going to be, it's going to be one of those games. It's going to be a you know, solid game in general. I'm hoping. I mean, once again, Vegas has the total low, 23-20, I think it was. So, I mean, Vegas once again is like, you know what? I'm not playing no games with these anymore. I'm putting it low. It is what it is. Honestly, I'd go with the over there because Arizona's defense is not amazing. New Orleans' defense is not amazing, especially when you take Marshawn Lattimore out of there and when New Orleans is on the road as well. Arizona is, I mean, my favorite thing about this video in general is I get to say what I love the most. Arizona's at home in a dome. Okay? And as you guys know, when somebody's at home in a dome, we smash those slates. Okay? I am the at home in a dome master. I am an at home in a dome guru. Okay? And it's not me being cocky, I'm just being honest with you. Okay? At home in a dome is a big thing for me, and we always find success when they're at home in a dome. So, with that being said, my captain's going to be the guy who is at home in his own dome, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the captain that I like because I do expect Arizona to win this game, especially with DeAndre Hopkins being back, and that's another plus for Kyler. Kyler Murray is a little rascal that just runs all over the place, and you can barely see him on the field when he's around the big man and all that. Like, he just moves around a lot. He gets a lot of those little runs, and I mean, he just gets you a solid floor with his rushing ability. And on top of that, he's getting his best receiver, one of the best receivers in the entire league, back. This is a big bump to the Arizona offense. Now, it's not great that Marquise Brown is out for them. When Marquise Brown comes back, Kyler Murray is going to have a million targets at his disposal. I mean, this offense is going to be deadly once you have Marquise Brown back for this team, especially with the way Rondale Moore's been showing up and doing well as well. James Conner's a solid running back when he gets back, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But at the end of the day, Kyler Murray, with his rushing ability and the way that I'm expecting this game to go, I think it's a beautiful spot to hop on Kyler Murray here at captain. Like I said, with his safety, he feels really good safety-wise, and his upside is huge having Hopkins back. Now, in a perfect world, I would love to just go Kyler, lock in Hopkins as well, and just move on and get the New Orleans side. Now, I have struggled a little bit with my mindset here because I do expect Arizona to win this game. And I do expect the script to be kind of, a little less pass heavy than normal. But DeAndre Hopkins isn't coming back from an injury. He was just suspended. So he should come back into a full work. I mean, his conditioning might need some help, though. I don't know 100%. But because he's not coming back from injury, I'm imagining he was keeping his conditioning up during that time. But there's a possibility that maybe he's limited snaps trying to work his way back in today, just off conditioning wise. But we'll have to see. Because of that, I'm a little hesitant. But I will say, if you have the ability, if there's news that comes out saying DeAndre Hopkins is in amazing shape, they're expecting him to play his usual snap role for this offense and be on the field majority of offensive snaps, then don't even worry about it. DeAndre Hopkins is a fantastic option. Go for it, okay? But because we have a little bit of a question mark with the workload here because of the conditioning issues, possibly, my bad, damn. Alvin Kamara is such a major part of this New Orleans offense. Whether he gets heavy run on the ground or whether he's getting little dump offs from Andy Dalton, either way, he is a reliable source of moving the ball when they need it. Alvin Kamara is a big deal here because they're playing from behind as well, so he is going to be a full-on receiver. Michael Thomas is out. Olave is back. So that's going to take a little bit away from Kamara, and Kamara is the interesting spot for me. As you can see, I have Kamara projected 3 points higher, solely on the amount of usage I'm expecting Kamara to get, regardless of how this game's going. Especially with Andy Dalton at quarterback, he's going to rely heavily on Kamara little dump offs and stuff like that. So Alvin Kamara is a great source of points for me tonight, and if I have to choose between him and Hopkins right now, I'm leaning Kamara. That's why I have him in the core for me right now. Olave is a fantastic option as well at only 7-4. Make sure he's going to get full run and be full go. But Olave, again, Michael Thomas is out. Okay, with Michael Thomas out of New Orleans, that's a big deal. Him and Landry. Michael Thomas and Landry out for New Orleans. That's a big deal, and that's a big bump for Olave, a big bump for Kamara. Fantastic spots for them. Now, it's not as big of a bump as when Olave was out too, and Alvin Kamara was a wide receiver 1 and RB1 at the same time. But it's still a big bump. So Olave at 7-4 really sticks out to me. He's a fantastic option. I absolutely love him. But I have to do my next play as, you know what, Rondale Moore. So it's Rondale Moore, Benjamin in the core there. I mean, either way you play that guy, no problem. But I really like Rondale at 5'8". Now here's the deal: a lot of people might shy away from Rondale with DeAndre Hopkins back, but honestly, it makes it even sexier to me. You still have Marquise Brown out, so Rondale Moore is going to be on the field almost every offensive snap with DeAndre, right? But with this New Orleans defense with Arizona having DeAndre Hopkins on the field, that's going to bring a lot of the defensive attention to DeAndre Hopkins, which is going to open up big play potential for Rondale Moore. When there's no other targets to worry about, Rondale Moore can have a little bit of a tougher time. Yes, he's going to get more targets if DeAndre Hopkins is off the field, just solely on the fact that he's the only option. But with DeAndre Hopkins on the field today, it's going to draw a lot of attention out of that New Orleans defense, and it should open up some really good success out of Rondale Moore. Don't shy away from it just because Hopkins is back, because at 5'8", he's still the wide receiver 2 here. You know what I mean? He's still the wide receiver 2 here. You're still without Marquise Brown, who is another big-time receiver for them. So I like pairing up Kyler Murray, especially if I'm hesitant on DeAndre Hopkins. I like pairing Kyler Murray with one of his receivers and Rondale Moore here, running it back with Alvin Kamara on the other side. Like I talked about before, Chris Olave is a big guy for me that I love. I've made multiple lineups already. I was building all day. Yes, I was building yesterday, whenever I get some free time from NBA study, and then I was building last night. And I haven't had a ton of Andy Dalton, just because of how the lines were coming together when I do have Dalton. Like, things weren't coming together exactly how I loved. And we all know Andy Dalton can be frustrating to roster anyways, especially with Taysom Hill being there, vulturing like a good bit, and when they get down in the red zone, there's always that worry of him vulturing a touchdown there as well. So Andy Dalton worries me a little bit. This game script is a good one for Andy Dalton. He should have to throw. And if New Orleans is behind, you're not going to see much Taysom Hill because Taysom can't throw at all. He's not even as accurate as Tim Tebow was. He's like a Tim Tebow, but not even as accurate. Like, what doesn't make sense to me is when New Orleans brings on Taysom Hill, why the defense just doesn't automatically keep some guys back, obviously, but all of them just merge on Taysom. He's going to run. If Taysom Hill's on the field, as soon as I see him walk on the field, I'm focused in on him and I'm going to stop him. The only reason he's on the field is because it is a play that is running with him, plain and simple. So if he is on the field, you stack that box up, and if he throws on you, you let him kill you that way. But you do not let him kill you with the known power that he has, his rushing ability. I just don't understand how these teams continue to allow this dude to run all over them when they know it's a run when he gets the ball. Like, how is that happening for them? But anyway, that worries me about Andy Dalton, but I love the game script for Andy Dalton. So if you play Andy Dalton, I'm not going to hate you for it, and I completely understand it because of game script. And I've always talked about how important it is, to understand game script and play it that way. So Andy Dalton and Chris Olave are a very cheap pairing to get that New Orleans team playing catch up today. So I like it. but they just didn't make my core. And who knows, maybe Andy Dalton will make my final look. But I'll be spending the rest of the day as well that on that and NBA today. So we'll figure it out. But as of right now, I'm just being fully transparent with y'all. I haven't had a ton of Andy Dalton. I've had more of his pass catchers and his offensive pieces than I've had actually him. I mean, because on full point PPR on DK, a lot of times a number one receiver or the running back will outscore the quarterback straight up. You know what I mean? So I could definitely see a situation where Olave scores more points than Dalton, possibly. You know what I mean? Or a Kamara outscores Dalton. So yeah. Anyways, Eno Benjamin. Let's talk about this. So Eno Benjamin is a big focus, obviously, today as well. He's an amazing option. Not only is the game script a plus for the run game, but Eno Benjamin's just going to get a ton of run here. He's going to play a lot of snaps. He's going to get targets in the pass game, all that good stuff. Little dump offs when everybody's focused on DeAndre. Like, DeAndre coming back for this Arizona offense is a big deal for them. It opens everyone else up as well. It opens the run game up immediately when DeAndre Hopkins steps on the field. So it's a big deal there. Just like it's a big deal for Rondale Moore. Having all the attention on DeAndre, it's going to open up more for Rondale. But Eno Benjamin, especially right now, James Conner's questionable. 1 second, hold on. Gotta sip my coffee. All right. I really do this live. I don't do any takes. I don't go back and cut anything, as you can tell. But anyways, Eno Benjamin is a fantastic option. Now, keep an eye on James Conner. He did not practice on Tuesday, so I'm expecting he does not play. They're saying he's a game time decision, but because he didn't even practice Tuesday, I'm expecting he's not going to play. So I'm going about it right now, early on, that he's going to be out. And Eno Benjamin is a fantastic option. Just because I don't have him in my core, I want everybody to understand that. Eno Benjamin, fantastic option. Love him today. Zach Ertz is another guy that is a sneaky-ish option. I feel like Zach Ertz is going to kind of be lowish owned. I feel like he's going to fly under the radar, and Ertz has those games sometimes where he blows up. And like I said, DeAndre Hopkins being on the field is going to open up for everyone. So if DeAndre Hopkins is taking off down the field, that's going to open up the middle of the field for Ertz, so pay attention to that. Zach Ertz could have a solid game. Traquan Smith, once again, will get another bump. I don't love the price at 6.2 for him, though. Honestly, like I said, this game could be super low scoring as always. I don't have a ton of interest in defenses, though. If I do play a kicker, I'm playing the kicker at home in his dome, Matt Prater. But yeah, that's probably the kicker I'm playing if I'm playing a kicker. Both kickers are in play though, because it's in a dome. In a dome is a huge bump to kickers because there's no type of environmental issues to worry about. So Matt Prater and Lutz are both cheap value guys that I'm down to take advantage of. Remember, New Orleans has Andy Dalton as the quarterback. So if they get down to in the red zone and Dalton just can't finish it off, you could get multiple Lutz field goals down in the red zone. I think Kyler Murray having DeAndre back in that offense might be able to score no problem in the red zone. So I'm not looking to stuff in kickers, but if you land on that price tag and you love everything else super, like really, really strong and you don't want to change anything, then you're fine with a kicker. No problem. Jawan Johnson is an okay option as well going against Arizona. It's a good matchup, obviously, against Arizona. Once again, the throwing game is fantastic here. It's at home. It's in a dome. Jawan's not at home, but it's in a dome, all right? And that's a plus for everyone. Now, let's talk about a value guy. Because if you guys want a value, my favorite value is Keontae Ingram, as you can see. I have him projected over 4. The reason being is because, with this being a short week for Arizona, right? This is a short week. They play Sunday. I believe they play Sunday. Yeah, they play Sunday. Now that's a short turnaround. They're playing Thursday. With it being a shorter week, Benjamin playing a good amount of snaps last week. James Conner being out once again. Keontae Ingram only got 3 carries, right? He wasn't a huge part of the offense. But I'm expecting him to get a little bit more this time than last time. Keontae Ingram, especially if Arizona gets up by a good bit, you could see a good bit of Keontae Ingram today. And he's only 400. So for a guy who's only 400, who is the guy who's going to spell Eno Benjamin in this game with no James Conner, with it being a short week, possibly getting more reps just off that alone. Keontae Ingram's an interesting value at 400, probably my favorite value as of right now, as just like a punt option. At the end of the day, if let me talk about him again. If Keontae Ingram happens to get a red zone carry and gets in the end zone today, he smashes value. If he gets one catch, he smashes value. If he runs for a nice long run or runs 5 times for 30 yards, you know what I mean? I'll take that. You really don't need a ton, okay, out of Keontae Ingram. And like I said, my thought process here is it being the short week, Benjamin getting as much run as he did last week, James Conner being out. It's just a lot of pluses looking for Keontae Ingram. And Ingram is the guy who's going to spell So it's an interesting option for me, and he's only 400, so that's why I really like getting him in some lineups because the upside potential you have with him is great. I mean, you can get everyone else that you really love in this game, and not miss any of the big stars. So far today, the one guy that scares me is this guy right here. DeAndre Hopkins. I've looked at so many different options, y'all. My favorite options I've built so far don't have him. But and it's just off of just lineup construction and what I'm able to do in the lineup. And the way I'm expecting this game to go, I'm expecting Arizona to win pretty good here at home. And so it's tough. Just same kind of situation with now, and I'm not comparing DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Williams, but the other day when I talked about not really getting much Mike Williams in my builds, even with Keenan Allen, it's just because not only was the matchup not fantastic, but it just didn't. The flow didn't come out right, and I talked about it briefly in a video before. I can't remember what video I talked, but roster construction is huge. You know what I mean? Sometimes just that one player is really just messing up the feng shui of the entire line. Now, like I said, there's a lot of the day remaining, and I will be trying to, especially if I get news that he's 100% go and he's going to get his normal workload. The one thing that kind of has him in less lineups than he normally would be is because of that. I'm curious of his conditioning. I'm curious if they're going to want to start him back slow. He's not coming back from injury, but still, I mean, who knows? So we'll keep an eye on that. Any news coming in on DeAndre Hopkins, if he's going to be 100% go and get his normal snap share, then I'm down with it. All right? And that's about it, y'all. We've talked about pretty much the way I like to go. Kyler Murray's my go-to captain right now. Alvin Kamara is probably my favorite offensive player on New Orleans. When it comes to point per dollar favorite offensive player on New Orleans, it's Olave. Olave's 2.2 point per salary. He's one of my favorite value plays on this slate in general with Landry and Mike Thomas out. With both of those guys out, Olave is a fantastic option, and I really, really like him. All right, at 7.4 point per dollar, he's really popping for me. But Alvin Kamara is the main offensive guy for this New Orleans. He's the main guy on this offense, and then it's Olave. So I really want to get the main New Orleans guy, especially playing catch up with him getting some dump offs from Andy Dalton. And then Rondale Moore to finish it off. Rondale Moore gets you a piece of that Arizona offense that's expected to win here. DeAndre Hopkins being on the field is going to open things up for Rondale. DeAndre Hopkins possibly will be limited in a little bit of a limited fashion. So not only that, but you already got these injuries to Arizona. Marquise Brown out. Rondale Moore is already going to play a ton of snaps. So I love him paired up with Kyler Murray as a cheap way to pair Kyler if you don't have DeAndre Hopkins. So that's about it, y'all. There's multiple different ways you can go, like I said. I want to reiterate, I love DeAndre Hopkins, okay? If you feel confident in DeAndre, if you're making multiple lineups or you're just having fun and playing a GPP and don't really care, then sure, go DeAndre Hopkins for sure. Like if I was making multiple lineups today, I would have some with DeAndre 100%, for sure. But because I'm making one, I have to make those tough decisions sometimes. So we'll see what happens. But DeAndre is in a fantastic spot with no Marquise Brown. I do like it, but I need to watch that workload. I need to watch and see what we're doing there. But thank you guys for joining me as always. Let's get this money. I'm out. Peace.